Orlando Magic HQ was poppin'. So Magic fans and NBA fans, the 2023 season for the NBA is officially concluded after the Denver Nuggets defeated the Miami Heat last night in Game 5 of the NBA Finals. Big congratulations to the Denver Nuggets and also a big congratulations for the Miami Heat for only being the second 8 seed in NBA history to get to the NBA Finals. But now we can shift our focus and attention towards the NBA draft, which is going to be taking place on June 23rd. And Magic fans, we still hold 2 lottery picks in today's draft, and we've already talked about a handful of prospects that the Magic should go out there and try to target in this year's draft. When you talk about guys like Grady Dick from Kansas, Cam Whitmore from Villanova, even a guy in Jarris Walker from the University of Houston, and now we're going to be talking about another prospect and a guy in one of the 2 twins in Amen Thompson today. Now, who is Amen Thompson? Amen Thompson is currently a 20-year-old basketball player from the Overtime Elite program. He spent 2 seasons right out of high school playing for the Overtime City Reapers, and Amen Thompson is from the state of Florida as he played high school basketball at Pinecrest down in Fort Lauderdale. Amen Thompson comes in at about 6'7", 209 pounds with a 6'9" wingspan. He averaged in his second season at the Overtime Elite program 16, 6, and 6. He still chipped in 2 steals per game, about a block. He did have about 3 turnovers per game, but he did have shooting splits of 56, 25, and 65. Now with Amen Thompson, there's going to be things about his game, just like any other prospect coming into the NBA, that you're absolutely going to love, and there's things about him that you're going to want to see him continuously do better and get better at the next level, and some things that really do make you raise an eyebrow and maybe a level of concern that you have for him, and that's exactly what we're going to be diving deep into. Let's actually talk about some of his strengths and some of the things that I really like about Amen. Now, the first thing you'll notice about Amen Thompson is not only his length and his versatility at the guard position, a guy who could play the 1 or the 2, but this man is an extremely explosive athlete. This guy tested with a 44-inch vertical, and Amen Thompson is a guy who's just an absolutely high flyer above the rim, extremely explosive, extremely athletic. This guy can run 94 feet up and down the court consistently. He's great in the half-court offense when you talk about blowing by defenders. He's great with his handles, and like I said, this guy's just a superb athlete in general. When you talk about his guard skills in the half-court, I do think that he's extremely well-versed. When you talk about his ability to not only get by his defenders with that quick first step, but he's got a crafty handle. He's extremely acrobatic and can finish at the rim. He does a great job when he does get by on the perimeter and he starts attacking the paint, really getting a couple defenders to get in towards him, closing the gap, and he's also able to play make for others, whether that is dishing out of the 3-point line or inside for a defender to go ahead and get a layup. He does a great job getting all eyes on him when he has the ball in his hands in the half-court offense. Like I said, in that half-court offense, he does a great job breaking down defenders with his handles. I think he's an incredible finisher at the rim with a lot of those acrobatic layups and, of course, his dunks. He also has great footwork on the inside when it comes to getting towards the rim with these acrobatic finishes. When you talk about his ability to step through the lane, his ability to Euro step, and also his hezzy, Amen really has an array of finishes at the rim, and I think he's just an incredible athlete when it comes to being down in the interior. And then when you talk about him on the flip side, on the defensive side of the ball, he's a very capable defender, especially on the perimeter. With his athleticism, his length, and his twitchy speed, he does a great job picking the pocket of a lot of defenders when he's on the ball or coming over from the weak side, getting a lot of steals. He also does a great job with his vertical ability, being able to chase down defenders and also get blocks on the weak side, especially on layup attempts. And overall, with his strengths, I think his strengths really do outweigh a lot of his weaknesses. When you look at his size and frame, what he can do at 6'7", 209 pounds with that 44-inch vertical, an extremely explosive athlete, a guy who can run the half-court offense. He's a guy who can get out in transition and make plays for himself, make plays for others. He can get up into the air. He's an acrobatic finisher, really controls the tempo, the pace, and really can play that pick and roll game extremely well. You like a lot of traits that you see out of Amen Thompson and a lot of his raw ability. Now, really the one and big and only glaring weakness that I really take away from Amen Thompson's game is with his shooting, and that was very evident with his 25% shooting from behind the arc this past season at the Overtime Elite Academy, and also only shooting about 65% from the charity stripe. Amen Thompson really struggles to make consistent jumpers on a night in and night out basis. If he's not not getting towards the rim in the half-court offense or in the fast break. He really struggles with this, but this is something that's obviously teachable. And like we've seen with Markelle Fultz, you can become coachable when it comes to improving on your shot. Now, another weakness that I would hold up against Amen Thompson outside of just his shooting is really with the level of competition that he played at the Overtime Elite Academy. And I know I'm not the only one that feels this way about the Overtime Elite Academy. This is something, and this is a level of concern that many have out there when it comes to the level of competition in which they've played, right? When you look at a very similar project team and a group in the NBA G League Ignite, that is more of a one and done, get these guys ready and prepared for the NBA game. And we've seen guys come from the G League Ignite with guys like Jalen Green, Jonathan Kuminga, now Scoot Henderson. All of these guys have came from the G League Ignite, and we've seen the level of competition in which they've played, and they've displayed at that level playing in the G League, which is a lot more of a professional setting, versus when you look at the Overtime Elite Academy, it's a lot of 17, 19, 20-year-olds right out of high school. And while these guys are terrific and these guys are all talented in their own ways, and yes, they are playing some overseas pro players, there is still a level of concern when it comes to the level of competition. Some of these guys look like they don't belong out there on the court, and I'm not trying to diminish or take away anything from these guys that have worked their asses off to be where they are, but you do have to raise a level of concern when it comes to that, and I just have to point that out whether it's fair or not. I would have liked to have seen them maybe playing on a Division I level basketball school where they would have played a lot better competition, maybe on a night in and night out basis. Now with Amen Thompson, when I kind of get to my final verdict about why the Orlando Magic should draft him, I'm really 50-50 and split with this guy. I do think he does have the potential to go number 4 or number 5 overall to the Houston Rockets or to the Detroit Pistons, but I do think he could find a home here in Orlando, and I could really see him fitting in with this team. I don't think he's a perfect player. He's not a top 3 prospect for me if I'm the Magic in order to draft at number 6 overall, because the likely assumption is that he's not going to be there at number 11. I don't know if I really want him at number 6, but if he was to get drafted to Orlando, I think you would still have a starting 5 of Markelle Fultz, Jalen Suggs, Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, and Wendell Carter with your starting 5. And off the bench, you're going to have Amen Thompson alongside Cole Anthony, a guy who's really embraced that 6-man role and that combo scoring guard off the bench. Then you're still going to have guys like Gary Harris, Caleb Houston, Bol Bol, Kevon Harris, and the list goes on. There's still some solid depth with that team off the bench, and then you're obviously going to talk about whoever we draft at number 11 overall. Where I think Amen Thompson could really make a difference on this team is coming in and just being an absolute hustle guy initially off the bench while he continues to develop on his shot and his three-point game really at the next level, because that will take a lot of time, especially at the NBA game, because he's a guy who can get out in transition, run the fast break. He's going to be a guy that's going to help control the offense and really take a lot of ball pressure away from a guy like Cole Anthony coming off the bench. And while he has gotten a lot of NBA comparisons to guys like Markelle Fultz and to guys like Russell Westbrook, I see a lot more Zach LaVine and Amen Thompson. I think the way that he's able to get towards the rim, he's a high flyer, he can finish with acrobatic layups. The way that they dribble the ball and the way that they're so savvy and crafty out on the perimeter, even with their quick first step, I do see a lot of Zach LaVine in him. While Zach LaVine definitely has the better jump shot, that was something he had to develop after he left Minnesota, because Zach LaVine was always viewed as more of a dynamic, high-flying wing back with his days in Minnesota. I do think Amen Thompson can develop a jump shot that'll have to come with time and a lot of hard work, but that's exactly the kind of NBA comparison I see out of him as of right now. That's just a personal preference. But Magic fans, we want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. What do you guys make of the Magic potentially going out there and drafting Amen Thompson, who's one of the 2 Thompson twins and obviously one of the most talked about prospects in this year's NBA draft? Let us know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. And Magic fans, if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure you guys go ahead and drop me a thumbs up. It takes 1 second and it helps me and the channel out tremendously. Make sure you guys also go ahead and hit that subscribe bell to stay tuned for more Magic content that I do here on YouTube. And make sure you guys also go ahead and follow me and OrlandoMagicHQ on all of our socials. We're very active and we're on there every single day, especially on Twitter. So make sure you guys go ahead and follow us there. But Magic fans, thanks again for sticking around throughout the whole video. Brett James, aka BJ, I'm out, y'all. Go Magic, baby. Peace.